Namaste, beloveds. This is Mother with Wisdom, and this is a very, I know I say important video every time I do this, but beloveds, this is a direct communication from a very specific essence of my genetic code. And it is wanting to be identified as Asiatic. And when I say Asiatic, that means islands, Eastern Islands. That means I'm getting a very, how can I say, Hawaiian, Polynesian, island, pink hibiscus, just bursting pinks and greens and blues, and there's a lot of different hues, but the essence itself, these are light frequencies, beloveds. These are the higher light frequencies that are coming through with this particular download right now. And I am to say, pay attention to the words, because the words are going to be very specific. So pay attention to the words that will begin to flow momentarily. And beloveds, another thing is, I need you to ground yourself before you watch this, before you sit down and listen. And I need you to bring, the lights are going in and out, but okay. Focus. I'm going to need you to bring your full presence here. This communication, this transmission, this sharing, this download is going to need your full spiritual presence. Notice I did not say your mind or your mental facilities or intellect. This viewing, this frequency, this vibration requires your spiritual attention and presence to be fully grounded and committed in the listening and receiving process. With that said, I'm going to ask you to take a moment to move your cell phones away from you. Turn them off if you need to. Move them away from you. If they need to be put in another room, put them in another room. While I'm talking, please do this, because the information that you are about to receive is about waves, is about spiritual waves and frequencies and transmissions and different instruments and tools that block and can also enhance these waves and frequencies. These waves and frequencies that I'm speaking of, I'm going to give you the polarities, okay? The polarities are instinct and intuition. That is the highest frequency. That is the highest wave. That is the highest vibration. That is the highest gift, okay, that has been imparted to you. The polarity of that is your technological liabilities or duplication of these waves and ways of communication, often imitated, never duplicated. Understand, and again, pay attention to the words, beloveds. This is going to be lengthy. So if you're not able to sit and fully grasp all of it, I invite you to come back again and again as many times as necessary. But let me ground myself a little bit more. Let me root myself in this frequency, inside this frequency. And let me bring a collective insulation to this frequency so that it can be received, that it can be retained, that it can be remembered, and that it will resonate in the way that you need to receive it fully. I hope you've put your cell phones and everything away from you at this moment, and I'm just going to begin and go into it, beloveds. First thing, the number 5G has been introduced to our conscious awareness in this moment in time. It is not coincidence. It has great value and great meaning in the geometry and in the mathematical universal language of unconditional love. It is a frequency that is in the middle, almost like ground zero. Okay? 5 is the average. And from 5, you go higher or lower. 6 to 4. And 6 to 4 brings you back to 1. Mathematical codes and universal languages. Understand what programs your computers, your tools and ways of communication with each other outside of your natural, innate, spiritual abilities of telepathy, of empathy, of knowing beyond these 2 eyes and these outer ears, beyond the outside, beyond that 5 senses. You want to come back into zero, to that womb, which you truly are, which has no appearance, which has no shape, which has no size, which has no color, which has no age, which has no expiration date. This is the essence. This is the truth of who you are. Everything else is an aspect that represents that and holds a lessened vibration frequency spectrum for you to observe, to know yourself. In each particle, in each drop, in each elemental form, seen and unseen. It's for you to be able to be still in that. Be able to stop the chaos of the mind. Be able to slow it down. And be able to freeze frame and observe in high definition everything that you need to receive. And not just be overwhelmed with a deluge, flooded with a download of information and data and knowledge of good and bad that you have to the mind has to try to compute and decipher and put in order and string along so that it makes a complete equation that adds up. Adds up to what? To its logic, to its parameters of power and principalities that will always be limited, that will only always be a duplication and never the original. Because you are the original. But your mind is that, and I'm going to flip it for you. They want me to flip it. Your mind is the most blackest, fertilest, productive, most beautiful thing in creation. It is like outer space. The blackness, the velvety blackness, the midnight blackness that holds what within it? All kind of light forms. And when you find yourself illuminated and enlightened, that rises up out of the blackness, it grows. It does not separate, baby. It is rooted to what it is. That blackness is the womb. The light grows out of the womb. Just like the lion comes from the lioness. Not the other way around. Many of the words that I'm getting ready to use, the words and the phrases, are going to have great symbolic significance. They are going to vibrate heavily in your conscious awareness because they are going to ping at your spirit like little alarm bells. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And you're going to say, what is this? This is cellular recognition of wave frequencies found within words, found within the intent of words, found within the birth and the formation of thought transference that feeds and nourishes another's soul and spirit and calls it, wake up. Wake up, Lazarus. Resurrect yourself. Physician, heal thyself from your diseased mind state, your mental condition, your lost identity. Know thyself. Again, 5G, fifth world generation that is able to birth change because we're able to hold the frequencies, because we're able to replicate the frequencies, and because the old frequencies that are dying away are infertile now. Their seeds are blanks. And so what is happening, beloveds? Pay attention to the towers, the 5G towers. All of this wave technology, all of this wave music, all of this high definition, all of the technology that is brought to fore at this time and presented to do what? To increase your conscious awareness? To increase your ability to communicate? And what is happening? Observe. Observe what is happening. Beloveds, 1 minute. My battery is low and it's Mercury retrograde, I do believe. So hold on 1 moment. Okay. Many things are going to come forward to interrupt this flow, but we're gonna stay as grounded as we need to, and we're gonna persevere. The 5G technology, they want me to put it to you like this. Remember when Jesus traveled over the waters and he came to this island, this territory where this being lived. And there are a couple of different interpretations of this, but I'm going to give you the main thing. Stick with it, beloveds. Came upon a man that was demon possessed. And this man told him, this demon possessed man said his name was Legion because he was so many. And everybody was afraid of him. All the people were afraid of him, of it, because it possessed the man. It had control of the man's mind, not his spirit, not his soul, but his mind. When you control the mind, you control the body. You control the thoughts. You control the constant feelings of paranoia and schizophrenia and all the mental disassociations and diseases comes from this demonic force, this demonic entity, this demonic attachment, this frequency, okay? However you choose to label that, it is spiritual. It is the lowest of the lowest frequencies, okay? It is not something that you need to be afraid of. It is something that you need to be aware of. You cannot fight what you do not know. You cannot confront what you do not know. That's not good strategy. That's not the art of war at all. In order to wage war against something that is warring against you, you need to be able to recognize it. You need to be able to identify it. You need to be able to know what you are working with and against. Everything brings a polarity with it. So even this low-end negative energy has a higher spectrum that is also present for you to work with. Let me stay focused here. Let me bring it home to you. You can look in the Bible, many different translations, and many of you are going to say, oh, I don't read the Bible, they did this and they did that, baby. Spirit has no appearance. Spirit cannot be contained in anything. It is in everything. It is in every word. It can reveal itself. It can communicate to you through revelations and images and sounds and sights and smells and touches and memories of other lifetimes in ways that your little mind cannot register. So don't look at a book and judge it by its cover. This was written by the white man and blah, 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 blah. Did the white man invent communication? Did he invent words? Did he invent sounds? Did he invent the receptors within your brain for spiritual capacity? Quit playing yourself short. Root yourself in that blackness, that womb, that spiritual womb that is everything and nothing at the same time. That is what you are. And when you rise up out of that seeking enlightenment, it's only tuning and aligning and raising your frequencies even higher. Let me get back to this because I'm speaking in circles and I want to make it clear. Like I said, there are many things that are Jesus came upon Legion. And Legion said, what are you doing? Don't send me out before it's our time. It's not our time yet. It's not our time yet. What do you do? What are you doing here? It's not our time. We still have time to exist in this form, in this way, to be legally. You can't do nothing. You can't dissolve us. You can't get rid of us right now because it's not our time. You can't eliminate us. You can't banish us from this planet, from this role, from this frequency right now. We're feeding. You can't. It's not time. What are you doing here? And Jesus rebuked it. He said, you're going to come out of this being, this human being. But I'm going to allow you. You want to go into the pigs? Okay, we're going to send you into the pigs since you are a parasitic force that needs a host to go into. You need something to attach yourself to. I'm going to allow you to attach yourself to the pigs since you want something living to attach yourself to. Okay, these are lower frequencies. Remember this. Immediately they transfer into the pigs. The pigs go crazy because of the what? The vibration, the wavelength, the frequency that has now attached itself to them. And they run over the cliff and kill themselves. And that frequency is embedded where? Where they fell upon the earth. The frequency still exists. It exists in a different form. And blood was spilled for it to exist into the earth. One moment. There we go. Like I said, many interruptions. Blood was spilt into the earth so that that frequency could inhabit the earth right there in that place. So that place became a vortex, a portal. Became a frequency that is earthbound. It's no longer in a human host. It's no longer terrorizing from the human form. The scene where it can be seen and heard. Now it's in a place where it's unseen and unheard, but still present, still existing, still operating, still sending out waves of its negativity that affect what's around it. You ever go to places and you say, ooh, that place got a bad vibe. Ooh, that place made me feel like this and that. That's why. At some point in the existence, it has been influenced by negative vibrations, waves, frequencies, and you are a crystalline being. You are, what do they make cell phones and everything, computers, all of this silicone, all of these things, or crystals and everything else. We're speaking of wavelengths and radios. And I want you to understand the design, not just the wires, but the circuitry. And not just the circuitry, but the circuitry boards, the metallics, the minerals, the metals of the earth that go into doing what? Harvesting, gathering these frequencies, holding them, transmitting them, transforming them, receiving them, transmuting them. Okay? You are the same. I listened to a YouTube channel, Alchemy and You. I love her deeply because she's tuned in spiritually, very gifted. And I listen to her because Spirit speaks. When you understand language of spirit, you understand there are certain wells that you drink from. And no matter what's around that well has a pure spiritual purity to it that is untouched. And that's water me. Water me, water me, water me. Bobblehead, water me. I'm a plant, water me. I'm the earth, water me. I'm a crystalline being, water me. Renew me, regenerate me, replenish me. I'm a plant. I'm everything that is, everything that exists came out of that blackness, that fertileness of everything and nothing. And it made babies. And we are the result of that mating. And again, you cannot have one without having the other. You cannot have the darkness without having the light. And it is a balance. You do not choose between this and that. You keep them balanced because you are all. Everything is all. And if you try to separate them, then you're doing something that even the Creator didn't do. When light rose from the darkness, it was still rooted there. It is still fed by that. Okay, beloveds, let's get back to the Legion thing. I'm sorry if I'm speaking in circles, but like I said, pay attention to the words. And if you need to rewind and go through this again, do what you need to do. If you need to take notes, do what you need to do. It's going to speak to you differently and hit you differently each time. It's going to awaken and cause your spiritual conscious awareness to expand with something. It's going to make you think. It's going to ping, 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 ping. Seeds, spiritual seeds are coming at you. It's coming into your blackness, into your fertileness, because you represent, each of us represents its own galaxy, its own womb of creation, its own womb of darkness where light rises out of it, and we call ourselves enlightened beings, and we identify ourselves as gods, as children of gods, as beings, not doings, not doing to each other, being to each other. How are you being to me? How am I being to you? Not what I'm doing to you and what you're doing to me. How am I being to you? How is my being to you? How are you receiving my being? How am I identifying with my being? Am I accepting of my being? My being is my conscious awareness. My being is my conscious awareness. I am a human being. I am a human spiritual conscious awareness. I am a human being, vessel, body, vehicle, Merkaba, endowed, imbued by a spiritual conscious awareness. That spiritual conscious awareness is capable of expanding beyond the words that I can communicate to you in this moment of time and space. Nothing is new under the sun. Pay attention to the words. Cycles and seasons repeat themselves. Everything that you are going through, everything that is you are consciously aware of, subconsciously and unconsciously aware of, is for what purpose? For you to self-identify. To what? Unconditional love. That's the highest frequency. That's what you're striving for. Why does the light arise from the blackness? To identify itself once again as unconditional love. To know itself in form, in sense, in logic, in touch, in taste, in abilities and gifts, in light and in shadow, from every angle, from every degree, from every move on the checkerboard, from every piece there. You are the queen, you are the king, you are the knight, you are the pawn, you are the bishop. And that other side, that's you as well. Again, getting back to the 5Gs, baby, these waves that are coming in and through us. I want you, I'm going to get very personal here because this is the way it's coming to me. And this is the way my understanding has formed and grown. And it's taken root. And I see it. And I'm consuming from its well of knowledge. And I'm drinking and I'm sharing that water with you. That life-giving water. That conscious awareness with you. Because I love you unconditionally. Because you are me and I am you. When I was a little girl, my father, who was 28 years older than my mother. My father was born in 1914, my mother 1942. My father had a third grade education. He was from the deep south, Georgia. He was a veteran. He served in a couple of wars. He had to stop going to school in the third grade so that he could go and help sharecrop the field so that they could have a roof over their head and food to eat. My father was a man. My father was a black man. My father was an indigenous man of the earth. My father was a man rooted in unconditional love that was taught to him by his mother. And he had no problem with the divine female or the feminine. He understood the brokenness of my mother. And it was only recently that it came to me that when my father died, my mother was, I think, 35. 35. No. Yeah, about 35. My mother was about 35 years old when my father died. She was losing her father as well. That dawned on me just recently. Because she had a very traumatic childhood as well. And she had nothing but my father. And my father stood by her side, baby, when the world called her crazy and locked her up. And when she became crazy from the voices and the mental shit that she was dealing with and that she carried generationally, 5G generations. Okay? That's the womb I marinated in. That's the bloodline that's speaking to you right now. The collective demons are passed on. What was hers is mine. I inherited. For a while, they ruled me. I don't let them rule me anymore. That's the whole thing with Solomon. Let me keep it narrow. Let me keep it narrow because I keep branching out. Let me keep it narrow. The point, my father got sick. He had a pacemaker put in because his heart rhythm was missing. It wasn't steady. Hear the words. The heart rhythm. When you think of rhythm, think of algorithms. Think of rhythm. There's a eurythmy. I want you to understand the rhythm of the waves. Okay? This is what I'm speaking of. This is what is coming through me for you to understand. Just like the ocean has a rhythm, it has waves, it has tides that shift those waves. I want you to understand, I want you to see, I want you to ride it with me, and I want you to understand there are waves now. We're speaking in waves, we're receiving waves. Waves of information, waves of knowing, waves of seeing, the seen and the unseen. The hear, what you can hear, and the dog whistles, what you cannot hear with the human ear, what you have to hear with a spiritual ear. Okay? I think they call it clairaudient. 5G. 5 generations. This is the 5th generation. This is the 5th world. You're ready now. Wake up. My father received a heart pacemaker. We were told at that time, and during that time, he also became what we knew then as senile. Senility was setting in, dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever you want to call that. That is the abandoning of your identity, your self-knowledge. With this heart pacemaker, that time in the technologies, this was in the late 70s, I believe, middle 70s, late 70s. The microwave oven had just come out. Microwave frequency. What waves were out before that? Television and radio waves. But now you're introducing a microwave oven. People with heart makers were warned. You got to be so many feet away from those machines, from those waves, or it will affect your heart. It'll throw that pacemaker off. So it'll reset your heartbeat. It'll reset your rhythm. It'll mess it up. It'll mess with it. It'll interfere. Skip forward to from the 70s to the 1990s, when the cordless phones are coming out. And they're the thing. Cordless phones. So that's another what that you need to be aware of, that you can't see with your naked eyes. That's another wave. That's another frequency. That's another generated technological energy being fluctuated. That energy fluctuation, it has an impact on your flesh because your heart has its own rhythm. Your body has its own circadian nature. Your brain has its own brain waves, beta, theta, delta, la, 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 la. Get where I'm coming? You see how all of these waves is crashing and what they doing? Keep in mind now. Prophecy foretells many things. If nothing is new under the sun. We watch Star Trek. We watch Beam Me Up, Scotty. We watch cell phones. We watched computers. We watched food being like this on the Jetsons. You go in here and you dress and robots and this and this and this and this. Nothing is new under the sun. Waves of information, downloads, overwhelming information, misinformation. What is misinformation? Lies. You're being flooded with all of this, 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 24/7, 365 in your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious states of what? Being. What are we waiting for? 5G, that fifth generation. Because it's that generation that has been programmed to bring about the change. They have enough energy stored within them like batteries to reach that spiritual next level and like a rocket, baby, take off into the ethers and beyond. But there are beings, there are doings that don't want that to be done. And they slowly increment these things that your mind chooses to place more value in than in your intuitive and your natural ability. So you no longer memorize numbers and addresses and people's faces and this and this and that, because now you have this little tool, this little thing that can do what? Store it for you in currencies of gigabytes. Bytes that consume. I told you, pay attention to the words. The frequencies, beloveds, are coming from existence. There is no way that everything has a polarity. This has a polarity. You know what the polarity is for this? It's called the Mazzaroth. It's the stars of the heavens. Everything is up there in that blackness where you come from. You're rooted in that. That is the baddest technology there is, baby. And when you learn how to navigate that, you navigate that through what? Third eye. You navigate that through intuition and instinct. Spiritual intuition and instinct. Let's be very specific. Not intellectual. Mm-mm. That don't work. Often imitated, never duplicated. Okay? The waves, beloveds, the ocean waves, the depths, each grain of sand holds memory, just like when you get where is that crystal this crystal wanted me to use it today. It wanted to be seen. It wanted to be heard. It wanted to be felt. And it was sitting over there, and it had fell off the plate where the rest of the crystals was. Now, how it fell off or why it fell off, I can't tell you. Can't tell you. But here it is. And it said, bring me over here, and I'm part of this today. This is what we are. You see this? This is what we are. When Lot's wife turned into a pillar of what? Salt. Minerals. Birth, death, and rebirth. We change forms. We are multi-dimensional, multi-shape-shifting minerals, elements, essences, all with a harmony and a frequency and a flow that is ongoing. How many generations did it take for this crystal to be formed? Understand the crystalline nature of light. Light waves, light forms, light beings, that inhabit everything in existence, seen or unseen. It exists inside the cells, in the blue mist within the cells, in one little cell. Know thyself. Stop letting this mental construct, architecture, try to rebuild you into a shape that is not you. You don't love yourself. You only see colors because this color is superior to this shade over here. Mind. Mental gymnastics bullshit. Logic, no matter how smart and intelligent it sounds, is bullshit. Often imitated, never duplicated, baby. So you can search and search and search and search and search and search and search for what? The knowledge of good and evil. And you won't always search for it, because what? You don't know yourself. It's you. You are the knowledge of good and evil. You are that seed. You are that which formed. You are that which ate of itself. You are that currency, that current, that wave, that reception, that transmission that keeps receiving itself. You ain't receiving something outside of yourself, ETs and blah, blah, blah. It's still you. It's existence. Existence exists in a vast range of waves and forms and vibrations and values and spectrums. And to sit here and say one is more superior than another, that's not how universal communication and universal divine mathematics work. There is no elimination. Zero holds everything in nothing. You can't add or take away nothing from it. It is whole and holy. It is the womb. It is the tomb. It is the bride and it is the groom. Okay. Grounding. Okay. Back to the pacemaker, beloveds, like I said. Back to the pacemaker. This is so much information. The waves, the 5G, we were at the cordless phones. Think of what other technology came out after the cordless phones. The boom boxes, the CDs, the video, what recorders, the CDs, and now we're into this moment, what we're in now. All of that deals with the technology of frequency, the reception, the transmission, the transformation, and the transmutation of waves, of light and sound, instinct and intuition being woven and rewoven. Through Your body is made of water and blood. How many minerals are in that water and blood? When you go to the doctor and you're sick, what do they give you? Immediately, they hook you up to an IV and give you a what? Saline solution. Why? Because that's going to help balance your waves out and help you receive whatever other medical communication or whatever else you need. That's going to make you more receptive to it. That's an open line, open frequency, conveyor conductor to your biological instruments and organs, and tissues and cells. High definition now. When you do all of these things, beloveds, one door opens and another door closes. The higher you get in technology, the lower you get in your instincts and intuition, your spiritual. The more technological you get, the less spiritual you get. Because you're relying on things that are man-made, created through the hands, through the minds, through the mental capacity, which is limited, which is going to break and break down and need repair and have issues, and not the spiritual, which has no breakdowns, which needs no recharging, which operates on a universal rhythm that begins with a heartbeat. All those tissues, all those cells start a heartbeat first. Before it starts a brain, it starts a heartbeat. Thus you are connected. You're rooted. Because that's involuntary. Opening and closing, beating, cleansing, purging, filtering system. You can't live without a heart. You can live without your mind being fully functional. It's called a vegetative state. When I said that Michael Jackson song, popped into my head. Which one is it? Just a vegetable. I did something to it on. Let me focus, ground. Like I said, there's so much. I'm trying to stay, but there is so much, and there are so many ways to share it, and I'm trying to stay as focused as I can because the information is that deep, beloved. So let me bring myself back here. We are on plasma screens. plasma screens. We have 5G towers that have been stationed on certain grid points to establish certain grid points, to establish a simulated, man-made grid point that is counterproductive, that is a mirror opposite of the natural spiritual grid. They want me to say that pay attention to, you know how many of us were becoming aware of the planes, the airplanes and the chemtrails, and what was being released into the atmosphere, to the environment around us, and what would pop off, especially in the summer times, in the barrios, in the ghettos, in the urban jungles, as far as crime waves, as far as agitation, as far as what? The disruption of harmony and spirit. They want me to bring back to your mind, to your third eye, what happened to the birds and the fish when they were testing this technology, this wave technology that they're using right now, that they think that they have perfected and that it is okay. Birds dropped out of the sky dead. Fish flew up on the shore dead. Tsunamis. We were looking at what weather patterns, HARP, all of these things. So many people say, well, conspiracy theories. Spirit says, and I've brought this before, dark crystal. Henson's dark crystal. That little show, that little puppet show, breaks it all down. It's like a Bible. It's very prophetic, very scriptural, very ancient message in it. Look for the polarities in it. Look for the messages in it. And look for that it's generational. And that even in the Bible it says, this generation shall not pass without seeing certain things take place upon the earth. Patterns repeat. This is another culmination, accumulation of 5 generations. This is the 5th generation in this age, going forward into this next age. The paradigm shift has already taken place. The birthing process is already underway. The rhythm can be felt. This ain't stopping nothing. It ain't stopping nothing. Why? This is an imitation of the original technology, which is spiritual. Can't touch this. Can't touch it. Can't touch it, baby. You can't touch spirit. You can't touch it. You can duplicate it as much as you want. You can study it for centuries and centuries and centuries, and you can come up with all the AI, artificial intelligence. Says it in the name, artificial. Spirit is the original, the OI, original intelligence. OI. I said I was feeling very Asiatic today. OI. Grounding. The towers, beloveds. Understand my cell phone. I told you several videos ago that I was locked out of Facebook. I couldn't get back into Facebook because my phone, that phone number where I needed a second step verification to get back into my email account that's on my Facebook and into my Facebook. Okay? I was locked out. Now, what made me go into that Facebook and get to changing passwords and this and that so that I would get locked out in the first place? Spirit. Wasn't I sitting there calling myself every kind of fool for sitting up there? Well, why didn't you go in there? Why did you mess with stuff you know you don't know nothing about that? Why? What was you thinking? And you sitting here, dummy. Now you can't even get on Facebook no more. You know that's what we like. We like doing Facebook. And it's like the waves started. They're just waves of information, these videos that I've been doing lately. So chock full of information, each one a footprint to be followed. Each one a footprint, each one with a certain amount of information that does nothing but lead you to the next. What's a footprint? A wave? A pattern? What's that thing when as soon as I said that thing, I walked by myself and Jesus thing walking beside you and you didn't see my footprints, but I was right behind you and in the sand. See how many times sand came up in them videos. Okay? See how many times sand comes up in this one. Back to it, the Facebook thing, getting locked out. I couldn't get back into it. My cell phone had died. It was an old, ancient one of the little bitty ones, you know. It wasn't working. And so my son's like, Ma, I just got a new one, and I'll just give you this one. And you just give me a couple dollars when you get it for this one. And I'm like, okay. And so he gives me this phone. I still can't get it set up with my Facebook number just yet. It's taking its time, but it'll get there when it's ready. That's the development of patience and being spirit-led. You understand that things get there when they're supposed to. And just let it be. It's not something that you need to do. You need to let it be because there's a higher force than your little mind that's running on the hamster wheel trying to get somewhere, okay? That's orchestrating all of this. So let it do its thing. And so I step back and I'm like, okay. I start getting headaches. Very specific headaches, only in a certain place in my head, only on a certain spot. I don't sleep with it in the room with me anymore. Waves, Wi-Fi, frequencies, interrupt, reception, transmission, transformation, and transmutation. Cancer, understanding the agriculture and the earth, what putting these towers, you saw what it did to the birds and the fish. Imagine the disruptions that is taking place in the earth. The many volcanoes right now. And I want you to understand that frequencies travel. And so the solar flares that are coming and what we are doing here with our artificial intelligence and our technology, sending travels, beloveds. As above, so below. You cannot not affect each other. We're one. Same womb, same tomb. Galaxies come and go. Based upon what? Carbon frequencies. That word. Carbon frequencies. So funny how they turn things, flip them, pervert them. Carbon melanated nation just came to mind when I said that. Divine feminine. Being parents by a so-called conscious community. Why? Because their waves, their spiritual waves have been interrupted. They have been reprogrammed, retuned, realigned by what? Lower frequencies, baby. Just like them pigs that was influenced by Legion. Them lower frequencies got them, baby. So do. The lower frequencies got them. Jesus said, how will you know me amongst the world? How will you know that Christ consciousness amongst the world? How can you recognize what's true and what's a lie? How can you know what's the right rhythm when they making it so damn said by the love they have amongst themselves. The love, the unconditional love that they have amongst themselves, not towards you, amongst themselves. So in their own little cells, in their own little groups, in their own little secret societies, in their own little gangs, in their own little factions, in their own little parties, in their own little political powers and principalities, in their own little checkerboard pieces and board games. How do they treat each other? like sharks in a feeding frenzy. Waves, 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 waves. You have to go to the depths to understand the waves. Because the waves will hit you and bust you, but you sink down to that bottom. You're weighted. You may move. Those waves may move you. But they not going to bash you around like as if you was at the top on the surface getting hit by them waves, okay? Depths, baby, the depths of something. Don't just look at the top of it and don't know the root of it. Don't know where it go. You just say, oh, that's so pretty. Look at that up there above the ground right there, raised up like that. And you go and it's a hand to grab you up under and pull you up under the waves. Because you're so busy looking at the top of it, which was a decoy to get you over there. But you don't know nothing about it. Oh, that's so pretty. Look. Instincts and intuition should have told you. You just stay over here and look at it. Don't go over there. You don't want to go over there. That's danger, Will Robinson. Okay? Let me ground again, beloveds. I don't apologize because this is coming the way it needs to come. It's coming through the way it needs to come through. And it is what it is. And if you're receiving it, you'll get what you need from it. You'll get what you need from it. You'll get the vitamins from it. You will consume the currency of it, the spiritual currency. You will get the nutrition. It will help purify your plasma. It will help align your kundalini. It will do what it's needed to do spiritually because it's coming from spirit. It's not coming from me. And if you're so caught up in the appearance of the container and what the container is doing, then you're missing the being that's speaking to you. The towers. Many are the same way that I spoke of the demon legion going into those pigs in that spot, the pigs going off the cliff and that spot being a place where demonic blood was spilt. Innocent, whatever blood was spilt, whatever you want to call it, was spilt, sacrificed, whatever, on that spot. That spot became a portal, a grid, a doorway, a vortex, whatever, to a womb, a cell, to hold that energy, that entity known as Legion. Those many, many frequencies. That spot, that hot spot, generates its own waves. And if you are able to be receptive or even affected by that, you will be. You will find yourself getting pissed off. You will find yourself crying and weeping. You will find upset. You will find yourself ungrounded. You will find yourself off your square, off the mark. You will find yourself sinning, missing the mark, missing the bullseye, getting it wrong, getting close but not close enough. Having it make sense but not all the way. Getting almost there. Or getting something and you're like, oh, I got it. And it's not what you thought it was going to be. It's not enough. And now you need more. All of this are these signals, these waves of influence. Spirit wants me to speak on something now that has been coming through for a while. And that's going to lead into some hold on a minute. I need some water for this. They telling me to get water. So hold on, I didn't get any. Hold on. Okay, I'm back, beloveds. Sorry about that. I needed hydration. Needed water for what I'm about to get ready to go into. This has to do with the okay, I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to speak it because it is what it is. Why does this system why is this system predatory towards children? And it has always been so. It's always been so. There's nothing new under the sun. Why does the system, this matrix system, prey upon children? Innocence. Innocence, children. Are unprogrammed. They come factory set, spiritually set. They come through the womb. That heart, those systems that are formed, that have developed, those five senses are ready to be what? Programmed into what? A human being or a human doing? Doing the most instead of being the most. They're preyed upon to interrupt their instinctual, internal, intuitive frequency, rhythms, cycles, natures, seasons, programming, molesting, raping, touching, violating, exposing, exploiting, messing with them. Manipulating them, mistreating them. interfering with their natural rhythms and growth and cycles and seasons and spirit, their own spiritual awareness. They no longer recognize, identify, include that knowing, that way of being. It's there, but it's distant. It's faint. They call it the small voice, the inner child. And no matter how fucked up you are, what has happened to you, you still hold on to that. And you still identify most with that. And no matter what else or how the polarities work out or what frequencies, that is your core. When you mess up, when you interfere, when you cause that trauma, you cause it to reprogram itself. It no longer trusts. It no longer trusts itself. It no longer trusts its own instincts to keep it safe. It no longer trusts its own intuition to keep it safe and sound and protected and whole. And so it now has to become what Darwin described as evolving into the fittest in order to survive. When it's an immortal being. But it has become so, its programming, its waves, its natural waves have been so distorted that it dies. It has a short lifespan. It's like a battery. It's used because you're doing so much. The Energizer Bunny, doing. You get used up. Because you're doing what? What are you doing? You're trying to survive. Survive what? The rat race. The rat race. Well, who runs the rat race? The big rats. They got all the cheese. Look up rats, beloved. Let me do that right quick because, like I said, this is going to be a long video. So I made that clear. This is going to be a long one. So you're going to need to. This is charging up because, like I said, I keep it off, and I keep it in plane mode when I have it on around me. I don't just leave it loose because I'm sensitive. And I didn't know how sensitive I was until, like I said, till this came through. And I understand why Spirit wanted me on Facebook, why this whole, I'm so messed up. Give me a minute. Okay. My phone is starting. Okay. Rat spiritual totem. It's looking it up. But I understand why Spirit had me off Facebook and understanding the second verification process that needed to come from this artificial intelligence, this second brand of technology. So your computer has to check with another computer in order to verify where you are, that you are you, your identity. It's all about your identity. Who are you? Oh, we need a second verification step for that. And da 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 da. Okay, this one just came up. And let's see, worldbirds.com. And this one just came up, beloveds. Rats have been part of humanity's story since the dawn of civilization. Wherever human settlements are built, before long rats have made their homes. It's no wonder then that rats are culturally significant worldwide, usually connected to negative things like pestilence, plague, and filth. Okay. Rats have been held responsible for the spread of disease, including the bubonic plague, which once decimated Europe. In many cultures, however, the rat is also appreciated for its unique virtues. Despite appearances, rats are actually very clean animals. They are also sociable, intelligent, and undeniably cute. From the many people who keep beloved pet rats to the many who detest them, rats remain a significant force in the lives of humans. In this article, we'll dive into the many meanings of the rat. Okay, this is rat symbolism and meaning. The humble rat has a pretty formidable reputation. Often rats represent filth, poor hygiene, criminality, sickness, malaise, and death. The belief that rats spread disease is likely contributed to this symbolic association, as is the fact that rats are common household pests who hide in places that are dark or that are not kept clean. What were we just speaking about before I got this? The rat race. And its spirit said the big rats run the rat race, and the big rats are the ones with all the cheese, and the big rats are the ones that what? Are in the shadows, to say in the dark, who hide in places that are dark and that are not kept clean, and that contribute to disease. Okay. In many cases, rats are used as derogatory symbols of people of low social status. Mirror reflections. The big rats called the little rats. Freud believed rats to be a phallic symbol. Pay attention to the words, baby. He also felt that they represented dirty children, screaming, crying, and biting vermin. Within this context, rats can symbolize unwanted children or unwanted siblings. This is spirit-led, beloveds. This is coming to you straight from spirit. Understand what you're receiving. This is mother's milk. I hope you're receiving all of the nutrients from it. While rats are sometimes associated with greed and thievery as a result of their hoarding behaviors, many traditions also treat rats as symbols of prosperity, wealth, and success. Studies indicate that rats can be stunningly intelligent. Often used in experiments, rats are highly intelligent and trainable. Thus, rats may also represent science and progress. Do you see the spectrums? Do you see the frequencies? Do you see the polarities that are being presented to you through this ancient symbol? Many cultures treat the rat as a clever trickster figure. The Chinese zodiac begins with the rat. And as the story goes, this is due to a cunning trick that the rat pulled in order to win the zodiac race. 5. Ooh, baby. You see that? 5. My mind is blown, y'all. It's blown. It's blown. It's blown. It's blown. Rat Native American symbolism. Like most human cultures worldwide, Native American cultures have a mixed relationship with rats. Rats are a frequent part of life and an abundant source of wisdom and inspiration. However, their pest behaviors earn them spite and negativity in many Native traditions. The Native American rat totem represents speed, dexterity, nimbleness, wit, cunning, and shrewdness. The muskrat is a large, semi-aquatic rodent relative to the rats which most are familiar with, is an especially important figure in the Native American legends. According to the Sioux people, the muskrat is one of the 4 creatures which created the world. In several Native traditions, the muskrat created the earth by diving to the muddy depths of the sea and bringing up a clump of earth. 7. Rat Eastern symbolism. In China, the rat is associated with money. When you hear a rat scrabbling around for food at night, it is said to be counting money. Money rat is a disparaging way of referring to a miser. 8. One popular piece of Chinese folklore describes the wedding of the daughter of the rats. In this story, the rats try to marry their daughter to the most powerful being around. They determine that the cat is the most suitable because all rats fear cats. When they prepare to marry their daughter to the cat, though, the cat gobbles up the wedding procession. 9. Chinese folklore states that rats have a demonic element to them. As a result, they believe that rats can turn into male demons as opposed to the fox, which turns into a female demon. 10. Of course, the rat is also the first sign in the zodiac in China, owing its position to an episode of trickery. In Japan, the rat is believed to have brought rice to humankind and is an auspicious creature associated with industry and intelligence. My shirt says Tokyo. In India, the rat is associated with Ganesha, the elephant goddess. Let me stop. Okay, focus, Valerie. In India, the rat is associated with Ganesha, the god of wealth and good fortune. There are temples dedicated to Ganesha, which cater to large colonies of rats, treating them as holy symbols of this exalted figure. 11. Rat Christianity symbolism. In the Bible, the Hebrew word akbar is given to a wide range of rodents, including rats, mice, hamsters, and gerbils. The rat, or the mouse, because of its destructiveness, is symbolic of evil. It is rarely seen in Renaissance art except as an attribute of Saint Fina, Saint F-I-N-A, Saint Fina, a saint who underwent terrible illness, destitution, and suffering without complaint or pity. 12. Renaissance paintings depict black and white rats eating one another, symbolizing day and night. In Leviticus 11:29, rats are mentioned in the list of unclean animal which man should never stoop to eating. In the narrative of the plague, Isaiah proclaimed those who followed heathen pattern practices lived on pigs and rats. Rat Celtic symbolism. Many pieces of folklore surrounding rats stem from old Celtic traditions. In many cases, rats seem to be imbued with a sixth sense for predicting the future, especially when the future involves imminent disaster. One legend states that when rats abandon a ship, it is going to sink in the immediate future. Another states that when all the rats flee one house, one of the occupants will soon die. It is even said that so long as there are rats inside a home, it will not burn down, as the rats would sense this long before it would occur and would leave in mass. So it seems that rats are thought of as having some kind of special sense for calamity. In Scotland, the following rhyme is popular. Raton and mouse, leave the poor woman's house. Gang away or by the mill, as there you'll get all your fill. 14. Rat, African symbolism. In some African tribes, spirits of the dead are thought to visit their loved ones' homes in the forms of rats, snakes, and lizards. Among these who believe this, these animals may be thought of as sacred and not to be killed. And when I said that, beloved, the movie Golden Child flashed. Amongst those who believe this, these animals may be thought of as sacred and not to be killed. Amongst the ancient Egyptians, rats symbolized both wise judgment and total destruction. Other African rat symbolism meaning include spirituality, knowledge, infirmity, death, the passage of time, enmity, evil, plague, meanness, slander, and destruction. Rat in dreams. Dreaming of rats often symbolize the ugly or unwanted emotions that a person harbors beneath the surface. Feelings like jealousy, guilt, and hate may be concealed by the waking mind, but revealed to us in dreams. That's that conscious becoming subconscious of its unconsciousness. Okay, those are the three woven together. And the rat, remember I said they take on aspects. Everything is an aspect, is a spiritual aspect. This symbology of rat is showing you that when you dream, ugly, unwanted emotions, how deep is that? That a person harbors beneath the surface. So on the top, oh, they just like I said, that, oh, that's so pretty, and there's some snatch you up under there. Unwanted emotion that a person harbors beneath the surface. Everybody smiling in your face is not your friend. Oh. Everybody smiling in your face is not your friend. Every politician getting up there skinning and grinning is not telling you the truth. Everybody shaking your hand saying, right on, my brother, is not your brother. even though y'all run in the same rat race and everything looks the same. One of these things is not the same. Feelings like jealousy, guilt, and hate may be concealed by the waking mind, but revealed to us in dreams. There we go again. Hear me, baby, these waves. The waking mind. That's a wake, a wave. That's waking mind. But is concealed in our waking mind. It's concealed in our conscious. We don't see it with our eyes. But when we close our eyes and that subconscious and unconscious takes over, that's when it comes up in the images, shapes, and forms of symbols, signs, and seasons that speak and communicate. And it takes your conscious awareness to be able to expand. But once again, you have to be what? Rooted in your origins, your original intelligence, not the artificial. Dreaming of deceased rats or swarming rats may indicate a fear of contamination or anxiety surrounding control. Dreaming of rats may also indicate a lack of trust in others. Deceivers and betrayers are often compared to rats. On the other hand, a rat dream may indicate a treasured goal. Rats are industrious and creative. Dreaming of rats may be a sign to focus on pouring your heart into your work. Beloveds, once again, we are being shown the polarity of good and evil. Don't just think one is one side and it's not. A coin has two sides. And both sides of that coin spins the same value. Okay? Whether it's heads or tails, 10 cents is 10 cents. Let's see, rat encounters and omens. This is very long, beloved. What I'm going to do is place this in the, I'm going to place this in the information below. I'll place this link there, and you can go and look at the rest of it. One of the things that's calling me as I look at rat spirit animal. The rat spirit animal generally presents in people who are clever and dexterous in body, mind, and spirit. People with the rat as their spirit animal have excellent intuition and a keen sense of both danger and opportunity. People with the rat as their spirit animal are curious and sociable, but they also tend to be a bit shy when thrust outside of their comfort zones. For people with the rat animal spirit, puzzles and problem-solving exercises present irresistible challenges for their agile minds. Okay. Aesop fable, The Lion and the Rat. A mighty lion chooses to spare the life of a helpless rat. Later, when the lion is captured, the rat saves the king of beasts by gnawing through a rope and freeing him. 16. There's a lot there, beloveds. There's a lot to unpack. This is rat symbolism, worldbirds.com, and I will put the link for it when I finish this video. But all of that came up for a very specific reason, and we were speaking of the rat race, the doing, not the being, and the big rat who keep all the cheese. And they keep all the cheese, but yet they have all the other lower rats slaving, doing all the work, with the promise of getting some of the cheese. Nothing that I'm saying to you right now is out of pocket. It's all coordinated. It's all synchronistic to um, all the videos in front ahead of it. And you don't necessarily need to look at the other videos in order to glean the information from this one, but it will help you. If you are on a true spiritual quest and a true journey, spiritual journey, to know who you are, and you've been led to the spirit energy that uses me to speak through, then pay attention to the other videos, beloveds, because they each is layers. It's layers. It's the same message, but it's many different layers that have been expanded upon as my conscious awareness expands, meaning as I am maturing, as I am ripening, as I am getting sweeter, like wine, as I am aging well and able to hold more robust flavor, able to ferment well, more, to expand, able to identify more with this spirit and not resist it or reject it the way I did in my youth. It's pure water, and it's getting more pure. And it's offered freely. My channel is not monetized. I'm not seeking donations. I'm not any of that, because every time I try to, it just don't work out that way. So I'm like, okay, Spirit wants me to just do it like this. So it is what it is. Getting back to the babies, and then listening to what that said about rats sounding like babies crying. In my other video, I spoke of a dream where there's a knocking on the door, and then there's this flooding of me hearing babies screaming, crying. This segment of this portion of this video was led into why are they predated? Why is there such a predatory force against children in this matrix system? The rat came up to show you the dis-ease spreading, turning that instinct and intuition into a hamster, single focus, or so focused on the puzzle pieces that it no longer vibrates or hears or is attuned or is conscious of the spiritual waves. It's only conscious of the physical waves, the puzzles, the quest for good and evil, the knowledge. It wants knowledge, 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 secret, hidden knowledge, 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 knowledge. What do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You are a receptacle of the very thing that you're searching for. Be still. Know thyself. I find it fascinating that I was kicked off of Facebook by Spirit in this manner. I find it, like I said, it's fascinating to me. Getting back on point, beloveds. this 5G energy, the waves of disruption, this rat reference of the spiritual essence, energies, aspects, polarities that come from this one particular species of creature designed by wisdom that holds its own rhythm. Is to awaken and expand within you a deeper awareness of your true identity, of your spiritual consciousness, outside, despite, unattached, unrooted to this matrix system, to this heartbeat, to this artificial heartbeat, to this artificial pulse that you think is the real pulse, but it's not natural, it's not nature, it's artificial, it's not real, it's not the original. It's only a copy. And each copy doesn't become more valuable, it becomes less valuable. The original is rare and worth most. Why? Because it has the original value, currency. No matter how many times you duplicate it. I was going somewhere and got sidetracked. The rats, the hamster wheel, the being instead of the doing, the big rats. I just watched Batman, the new 2022 version. Full of symbolism, full of waves. Not coincidence, I'm sure. Like I said, these frequencies are playing themselves out, and I've gotten to the point where I'm just watching. Back to the point that had eluded me. Bringing it back to that point. One of the symbolisms revealed through the rat totem, spirit totem, one of the polarities is that of the demonic, lower frequency, value, transmission, spectrum, vibration. And understanding that it influences. It is picked up. If you are a receiver, and all of us are receivers, transmitters, transformers, and transmuters of these waves, this energy, these currents, this currency, spiritual currency. We are either at a deficit or we are spiritually wealthy beyond knowledge. Those that are spiritually wealthy are guiding the others by sending these waves through space and time. That's what creates prophecy. That's what fuels it. That's the involuntary beat of your heart. It's that kind of understanding and understanding. Getting back to this, the demonic influence, the 5G towers, the disruption of your emotional, instinctual reactions. One of the things that Spirit wants me to address or bring out of the depths up to the surface is impulsiveness. That word, impulse. Let's see what that word means. Impulse or impulsiveness. Impulsiveness. Searching. Give me a minute, beloveds. But what is coming is that we can be. Something went wrong. Okay. Impulse. We can be at a certain wave or consistency or balanced level, and something will come along, either auditorially, visually, something comes along to.
Here's the definition of impulse: a sudden, strong, and unreflective urge or desire to act.
A sudden, strong, and unreflective urge or desire to act. A driving or motivating force, an impetus. Okay. You can be steady. You can be grounded. You can be rooted. And something, an impulse, triggers you. An impulse. That's a disruptive wave. I don't know. I was doing this and all of a sudden I thought about this. Or I don't know. I was in it fine and all of a sudden I just got pissed off and blah, 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 blah happened. Or I was talking to you and I lost my temper. I blacked out and did this and that and that and that and this and that and that happened. And I don't know where all of that came from. I guess I had been storing all of that subconsciously or unconsciously, and it just came bubbling up when I had a couple of drinks, but I'm telling you. Impulsiveness is a sign of your lack of immaturity and control of your own wave system, of your shields to block out things that can or may trigger you. Shields up means nothing triggers you. Nothing is going to send you on a. You're going to lose your patience. You're going to step off your square and act impulsively. You're going to act in an undisciplined manner. You're going to act like a youth, like a child, without thinking. You're only going to respond emotionally. We have all been there. I watched a lot go on. My son graduated previous weekend, and I went to the big center. So many people, so many emotions, and everything just. All the while I'm there, I'm feeling all of this. It's like this 5G energy just got tripled. Just came out like triple X, just bam, X-rated, just wow, wow, wow. Everything was heightened, times 3. People were going off on each other. People, all kind of emotions and things were just bubbling. And I watched people within my family, and I watched the gossip, and I listened to the things that were not being said, but were being thought and being felt. As an empath, I can do this. And I'm just sitting there, and they're like, everybody was like, you're kind of off today. I ain't ate. I'm diabetic, so I ain't ate, and I don't know. I'm just tired. It's just the energies were off. Everything. I got shields up. I'm in deep observation mode. I'm looking at projectiles coming at me from whoom, 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 from all these different directions, seen and unseen places and sources. Recognizable and unrecognizable demons coming at me. Okay? All to do what? To disrupt my wave. To disrupt what? My balance while I'm riding this wave. Flip me off so I can drown in the misinformation of who I am not. I had interactions that I watched that came from nowhere and that were just little ripples and turned into tsunami waves. And all I could do was sit back and know what was happening was out of my control. But be moved, because I'm an empath, I'm emotionally moved by it. So I'm sitting up here crying and sad and everything because I can see and I can sit up here and I can tell people this and this and this is happening. And they're like, Valerie, you extra, you got issues, you crazy. You need to go over there somewhere with that. And so I go and okay. And I just watch. And I do my videos. And I share. But I'm very aware. And I may not know exactly what's going on in the moment. But like I said, spirit, this happened first. Connect the dots, Valerie. Find the eggs, Valerie. Each of these little dots is eggs. And it's like going Easter egg hunting so I could be resurrected. My memory and recollection and knowing can be resurrected. Wake up! Like I said, pay attention to the words that are flowing. Because they're coming through a purified filter right now. Because some stuff is taking place. And we have come through. And I'm aware of that on many different levels. Everything is connected. This war is connected. What's going on in America right now with Trump is connected. When I tell you right now how I tied all of this, how do I want to put this? The lower, no, I won't say lower. Spirit, give me a way to say this, please. Hold on. This 5G energy is owned and is manufactured and manipulated and controlled by the big rats. Okay? The big rats who want to keep you what's a female sheep called? A ewe. that wants to keep you controlled in a maze, running, constantly looking for your identity. It doesn't want you to know how spiritually vast you are. See, those with this knowledge understands that it's powerful. And that's why this knowledge is power. And it has been chopped up like Osiris. And it has been hidden over here, and parts over here, and parts over there, and parts back here. And it's coming through these generations. The piece will come up here in this generation. A piece will come up here in that generation. A piece will come up here in this generation. But you got to be what? Intuitive and instinctive and spiritually connected enough to do what? To recognize and identify these parts and to put them together into the whole. Because one piece, it's just a piece to the puzzle. Rats like puzzles. It's just a piece. Here you go, little drop of cheese, a little knowledge here and there. You know, here you go. Go left, turn right. You're gonna find yourself. Go over here. Dig this up over here, 3 feet down to the right over here. Look upon see how many levels of crustaceans and architectural this and that. Watch where the beetle dung is and this and that, and you'll come upon a gem. That's just for you. Because you are doing instead of being. That's your reward. You get rewarded for doing. Your reward comes from being, expanding your conscious awareness, beloveds. Let me get back to where I was going with this, beloveds. Like I said, there's so much. Those in higher places with their trickle-down theories of conspiracies upon conspiracies upon conspiracies that they wish to drown you in, whose ship is sinking now, their boat of lies, that fake cheese, Swiss cheese. They're sinking ship. They're jumping ship because the ship is sinking. As prophesied, you only have so much time. This generation will not pass until it witnesses A, B, and C. A, B, and C is occurring. This generation of big rats that have been in power to see these, that have been in charge of these forces, this technology, these waves that are able to disrupt, these disruptive waves, they are no longer in charge. They are no longer in power. They are losing control. They are turning upon each other. You will see that in everything. This impulsive Ukrainian war, this I started it and now I can't stop it, and they were supposed to do this and this and this because I had seen this, this, and this happening. That happened before. Why didn't they? Because this is what's called the end times. This is a very spiritual time. This is the time of the separating the wheat from the chaff. That which is consumable for your health and that which is poison and filth. And has already been pooped out and used and worn is what waste products now. We don't want that. Throw it up in the what? In the wind and separate it. Told you that Asiatic. Whoo, baby. Those times are at an end. They have come in waves before. Many times. This is supposed to be the fifth world. Many will tell you, many of the indigenous ones will tell you, this is the fifth world. That means there are 5 generations of worlds. This is the 5th generation of worlds. This world has special significance. We have reincarnated and reincarnated and reincarnated and rose and purified and filtered ourselves and reaped our own karma and worked it out and yin and yang, and we're understanding the flows, and we're coming up, and our conscious awareness is once again expanding so that we can do what? We can care for the earth. We can do what? Clean her up. As what still? Rats. Rats are clean. They're not as dirty as you think they are. And listen to the messages, beloveds. Hear what is being given. This is not just me rambling on. There's diamonds and pearls and emeralds and rubies and topaz and aquamarine and all kind of gems being, here babies, here babies. You want some living water? Here babies, here, come on. You better come on. Let me go. Let me stop for one moment because I need to breathe. Okay, just for one moment, I need to breathe. Thank you, beloveds, for your patience. I get excited, and so I wrote some things down so that I can stay on track and stay focused and be grounded with this and have it sound so much better than me just wilding out. Okay, so those of you that have been following me for a while, you know all the layers. And so let me just go forward. Spiritual nourishment, beloveds, is very important. Spiritual I'm told to speak louder. Spiritual nourishment is very important at this time, beloveds. This is your spiritual diet. What you are allowing to nourish you, what you are allowing to feed you, what you are feeding into, what you are feeding off of spiritually. Everything that is taking place right now is of vital importance because it is going to give you the ability to expand your spiritual conscious awareness even greater. Okay? Things will seem to speed up. And that is simply because your conscious awareness is expanding. You're able to receive more. And in the receiving, you're able to manifest and process more and co-create more as an individual and with the collective that is doing this, that you are linked with. Stay focused, nourish yourself, be careful of your intake, of what you are allowing into your spiritual conscious awareness. Wean yourself away from the lower vibratory things. And I'm not going to put a name on those. They are what they are, and you are aware of them. You will come into your own awareness of what is higher and lower through your discernment of being in those places and being influenced by that energy. You have to, nobody can tell you this is this and that is that. That's an instinct that you're going to have to develop. That's an intuition that you're going to have to, those are the muscles you got to use and increase. You do that through what? Supplementing your spiritual nourishment. Some will say meditation, but meditation is what it is. That's just grounding and rooting yourself in that cosmic knowledge of the original intelligence, the original orgasmic intelligence, that pure, unadulterated wisdom and unconditional love of self. That's what that is. No judgment. None of that is there. No self-hate, no jealousy if somebody got more than you or did. None of that is there. That is where you want to be rooted in. That is where you come from. That is getting back to you, to your roots. Okay? So you want to be spiritually nourished. Understand that your physical diet, your emotional diet, your mental diet, all of that impacts you. All of that impacts the waves that you receive. All of that impacts your ability to receive, transmit, transform, and transmute. There is no right way. There is no wrong way. You're going to find your way. That's your authentic way. That's what you're looking for. Okay? 2, polarities. Understand the polarities in everything. Understand everything is multi-layered. Everything has a spectrum and a frequency to it. You don't just want the number 0. How many positive and negative numbers are on the other side? You don't just get 0. You get all the way up until infinity. You cannot have 0 without having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't, universal mathematics tells you this. There is nothing over sophisticated about this. This is simple. Keep it simple. Make it plain. So that a child can understand. Because that is who needs these lessons, the children. These ones that are going to give this 5th generation that is getting ready to have children and that is influencing the world beyond this paradigm shift. are the ones that are going to be the new caretakers and gateholders of a more consciously aware and productive society. But we've got to get there. We've got to be vigilant. We've got to be less impulsive, less responsive, more observant, grounded in unconditional love, using compassion and communicating with empathy. Even those who we look at are the dirtiest rats, they're serving their purpose, and they deserve your empathy just as those who are suffering from what they're doing. And in the scheme of things, all will work out. It's one coin, two sides, but all one purpose. Bringing up. You need the contrast. You need the fertilizer. You don't get the fruit without the bullshit and the flies and the bees and the birds. You can't have one without the other. That's wisdom. Stupidity is saying, well, this apple is sweeter than that apple, and pears are better than oranges, and this is better than that, and this should cost more than that one because this happened and that happened, and this is green and that's yellow, and I like blue. So today blue is the trend. Now blue is it, y'all. Everybody run to blue, like in the Wiz, the horse of a different color. The color is green today, people. Green. I'm seen in green. Woo, I wouldn't be caught dead in red. 5 minutes later, red is the, woo, red and fed. I wouldn't be caught green in Dean, in me. Patience is required with yourself, and forgiveness for yourself. And all of that is supplied in unconditional love. And you've got to invest and explore and observe and understand and mimic copy and paste unconditional love until that's all you know. That's all you recognize. And when you don't see it, that's not it. That's not it, baby. I see you. And I see that you don't know what unconditional love is. So I'm not going to hate you. And I'm not going to kill you because you don't know. But I'm not going to go over there and try to make you know, because I can explain this to you a million different ways. And until you are ready, you won't get it. You won't grasp it. You can't hold it. It's too much for you to hold. It's going to slip through your fingers, and I'm wasting my time. But it's here whenever you need it. Those are the polarities. You are not here alone. You are not here bereft in this hell world, in the chaos. You're rising up into the self-knowledge and unconditional love of your greater aspects. And it's time to explore those. rather than the lower frequencies. It's time to weed them out. It's time to say no more. No more fake news, no more fake lies, no more misinformation. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to me. Stop beating me. Stop abusing me. Stop raping me. Stop molesting me. Stop hating me and being jealous of me. Stop it. And I'm not going to let you do it no more. Why? Because I love me unconditionally now. And I don't need to be like you. I don't want to be like, I don't ever want to be like you. Not that I'm judging you. Because I understand why you are you. But you choose. You choose not to self-correct. You have the knowledge, you have it hidden. You're benefiting off of it. Polarities. Let's go back to 3. 5G towers and waves. I'm being told I'm seeing the tower card of the tarot card right here. The tower card and the waves. And knowing that this is the 5th world. So this is the 5th tower. This is the 5th tower of Babylon that we are dealing with. Okay. Reception, transmission, transformation, and transmutation. We are the ones who are capable of receiving this information, transforming this information, transmitting this information, and transmuting the lies, the misinformation, calling it out, correcting it in the history books, in the hearts and minds. This is the physician healing itself. 4, dark crystal. I mentioned dark crystal at the beginning of this video. It is a movie that should be watched. I watched it as a child. It had great meaning to me then. But over the years, it is always there as a reference of prophecy in the most simplest of terms. It is a the dark crystal. It's a breakdown of the Bible. Okay? It's a breakdown of every cosmology story that there is. The dark crystal. Go watch it. It's very prophetic. The characters are very... Before you assign and attach your judgment and labels, take that away and see them as yin and yang forces. Understand the yin and the yang forces. Again, that's that two sides. You can't get rid of one. You can't just have one without the other. The other balances out the other. That is the wisdom. That is the paradox of the creation. Way more intelligent than you. Stop trying to figure it out. That's going in a maze. That's seeking knowledge of good and bad. Stop it. Stop your impulse to go that, ooh, no. There's nothing to dig up. There's nothing to know. These are forces. These are the two forces. Two opposing forces that make the whole. Bam, there it is. Stop trying to make it more than that. That's the mind. Batman, Catwoman. Just watched the movie Batman, the newest Batman movie, the Joker movie, the Harley Quinn series, Catwoman, the Dark Crystal, and the fact that Rat came up in this reading. And in the Batman movie, the rat that flies. The rat that flies. The rat that flies turned out to be a falcon. There's a lot of symbiology in that. A lot of twisting, a lot of polarities in that falcon symbiology and lore messages. Just like the snake and the bird. The snake crawls on its belly until it gets wings and flies. The caterpillar crawls until it gets metamorphosis and turns completely into another being. It has wings now to fly. It no longer crawls. It's no longer in that earthen element. It is now in the element of the air. Because it's gone through a liquidation process of rebirth. Birth, death, and rebirth. Finding the eggs, resurrection, rabbit hole. These are all in the videos mentioned prior to this and previous to this. Beloved, 5. And again, we come to the number 5, and I'm told to have you pay special attention to this, because this is the whole purpose of the videos. This is the whole purpose of these messages coming through me. This is why I have suffered the things that I have suffered into my conscious awareness to be able to speak upon them. Corruption of innocence is reprogramming into darkness. The spiritual imprint is pure. That connection is broken in the womb by what is going on around it. Through what? Ultra waves of receptivity. The child is not outside of the womb, cannot see, but yet it sees and hears through its instincts and its intuition. And its instincts and its intuition forms its nervous system, which forms its cellular build and its brain and its personality, and all the genetic codes become aligned. The organs and their ages and their way of processing information and everything happens during this time. It is very powerful. It is very precise. One of the reasons why these rats, these dirty rats, I will call them, these dirty big rats, is doing the legislation that they want to do to abortion, is because they are dying out as a species. The highest abortion rate is within their genetic codes. They want it stopped at all costs, even if it's ancestral, even if it's rape. They're trying to survive. They're trying to continue. suffer the children. Those who have not been reprogrammed. Those whose spirits are still intact. Those who still carry their inner child and are intimate with them and let them come out and play and let them be, regardless of what somebody else is going. Girl, you're a full-grown woman. Girl, this and this and this and that. You need to grow up. You need to... That's childish shit. Yeah, that shit you're doing is so fucking grown and violent, and if that's the shit, I'd rather stay over here. I'd rather just stay over here in my fun than be over there in that misery, in that shit. Because that's unattractive. If this turns you off, you stay over there. I'm good right here in this. This is my lane. You ain't got to be over here now. Stay in yours. This is my lane. I'm good. I ain't competing. I ain't trying to cross over into nobody else's lane. I'm good. Be good in your lane. Be the best you can be. Explore your lane. See how vast it is. And your lane should be unconditional love. And it'll guide you. And it'll speak to you. And it'll comfort you. And it'll lead you. When you tune in to the wavelength of it. Save the babies. Abuse. The molestation of the spirit, not just of the flesh and the emotions. Understand what these demonic forces, they're satisfied off of the corrupting, the soiling, the defiling, the death of the spiritual identity. That's why they can do the most heinous of things. And it means nothing to them. Because that frequency that is operating through them is nourished, is fed off of the lifeblood of the spirit that they are destroying. And by destroying, I mean that they're making that inner child go into hiding in order to survive this vicious world. Observe it. Know it. Call it out. Speak on it. Shine light on it. Say, not on my watch. Uproot it. Transmute it. Transform it. And this is going to do it. This is the last one. This is 6. Spirit wants you to notice the increase in the violence is just like that of when Trump first entered into the office. This is being done by psychological manipulation manipulating things, waves, light, music, and water, and plants, and food. Many call it magic. You're just manipulating, you're using illusions, you're using masking techniques, you're covering and uncovering, you're substituting AI for OI. You're saying technology is better than intuition and your memory. This phone memorizing and storing up. You ain't got to remember all that. Let this device over here, let it store your memory for you. Let it hold your life for you. Let it memorize it for you. And we make money off of that. And the kids dying and stealing, producing these things. Children working in mines to get the crystals that make the memory, that hold them, that do all of that. They're working, their fingers down to the bone, bleeding. They ain't got enough to eat or a place to stay for this. When you have this, the greatest, the original, but no, you don't want that. You want this. Shiny. Self-knowledge. I'm dependent on this. I'm addicted to this. This is my life. I can't function without this. I can't even get into my account because I don't remember the passwords because they're in this and now in order to get into that space, I need a second I need this to authorize it that's me. It doesn't recognize me. I need a second authentication for my identification. Is this. This is my daddy and my mama. Yep, I gave birth to her. Here she go. Yep, that's who she is. Boom, that's Valerie. Yep, I agree and identify. Okay, amen, that's her. Okay, let her enter her Facebook account now. There she go. Why? Because my knowledge is not good enough. We're dependent on this. This is dependent on what? This is the earth. This is the mama. This is her waves. These are her eggs and her ovaries and her babies. This is her nervous system. This is her way of communicating. This is her throat and her heart. Being mined, put into technology. To do what? To further humanity's knowledge of itself. Or so certain generations, certain fat rats, dirty rats, generationally can exist as the fat rats. And the rest are slaves, slaving away for the cheese. You want a little piece of this cheese? You got to do this, this, and that. Come on, it's a rat race. Can't get none if you don't win. Gotta be in it to win it. I'm gonna give it to John. You don't want that? Okay, John wants it. Come on, John. Do it. Do me, John. Do me. Do me better than her. You can get it. Eat her. You can have it all. No more competition. The bird without wings The color blue in the bluebird. Bluebird has its own lore, Native American. Look it up in the Asiatic mythologies. Bluebird. Whatever bluebird comes, look it up. Understanding that bluebird, that twitter. Twit, 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 twit. It's all synchronistic in all of this. The big rats, the cheese. Controlling the cheese. Those with wings want to rip those wings off so that they can fall to the ground. Those on the ground want wings so they can fly. Nourish yourself with spiritual truths, levels. Store them here in your heart, in your spiritual heart. Know and ground yourself in the observation of existence, existing. Watch it. Watch it unfold. Have the patience. Learn not to react and respond. I had to learn not to be triggered. I was triggered easily, because of my trauma and the world that I grew up in and just being me. Oh, baby, I was a trigger happy little. Love going, trigger, 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 pump, 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 pump. I'm being extra. I gotta be extra to survive this. I've got to be extra to let you know I ain't the one, homie. I gotta let you know. I gotta be more extra. I gotta show you. I got to teach you. So you can do what? You can back up. You can rethink. You can see me. Because obviously you misread what you saw. Stop taking things personal. This person that you're identifying with, it's not you. It's your mind. What gets upset? Your mind gets upset because its image of you has been challenged, has been threatened, has been whatever. But if you are not attached to that to the mind's image of what you are, people can say what the hell they want to say, and it don't mean nothing to you. Yeah, it don't mean nothing. You go about your business because that don't mean nothing to you. It holds no weight. It has no force. You're not connected to their understanding of. You don't live in their world. They're in their own world. They're crazy. Okay? They're not on the same wavelength as you are. They're still only able to get the static. White noise. And they trying to translate that. You hearing crystal clear. And you gonna what? You gonna try to decipher the crackles more than the crystal clear voice? You gonna trust that over there more than this? Look at the agenda of those who want to disrupt your waves, disrupt your sleeping patterns, disrupt your beta, theta, delta waves, who want to reprogram you with trauma and just force so much misinformation and dump so many lies and misinformation that you don't know, well is that right or is that right? Because why? You cannot discern because your instincts and intuition is so, because you've allowed everything else to store the information and to be your truth. And when it comes to you depending and coming from something that's within you, that's your navigation, that's your compass, you don't know how to use it. You don't know how to do, well, do I go left or right? Do I go left or right? I don't know which way to go. What do your instincts tell you? What do your instincts tell you? Do you even know what they feel like? Do you even know when you're in an instinctual space? Do you even know when your instinctual self, your higher self, is communicating with your lower self in the synchronicities, in the signs and symbols, in the repetitions, in the glitches, in the stuff that don't make no sense, no spiritual sense, no sense. I ain't talking logic, I'm talking about sense. Common sense. Okay, beloveds, I am going to end this because this is a lot. And I'm going to do a second part of this. And this part is going to be from the Medicine Woman Guidebook, because during this time of my conscious awareness expanding, I did a tarot reading from the Medicine Woman tarot deck cards, and I am going to share that on this other video. So for those of you who are interested in that awareness, and when I do these, I give you what Spirit is given to me, and then from the cards, I'm giving you confirmation. Different depths and levels of confirmation. Other parts that fill in what I may have left some gaps in my speaking and in my transitioning from one voice to the next. I'll put it that way. Okay, that's going to do it for this one, beloveds. And again, stay tuned for if you feel guided and motivated. Look for the second video, because this was pulled. This was done a night ago, 2 nights ago, 2 nights ago, 2 nights ago. During a time of great tribulation for me, when I was going through a lot because of some family stuff that came up. That came up because of triggering. That came up because of the season that we're in. That came up because of the forces of light and dark that are battling within our midst and that are influencing everything. Okay? Understand, observe, ground yourself. Do not indulge in the impulses of others. This is where self-discipline comes in. This is where the learning of self-discipline comes in. Nobody has it perfect. And even if you fly off and snap off. Observe and come back and clean up your mess. And said, I was wrong. I was sorry. I'm sorry. I was reacting. I was triggered. I was impulsive. I did not take time to think that through. I overreacted. This is the humanity raising its frequencies. This is the spiritual conscious awareness expanding. That's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. That's what it feels like. It's correcting. It's not the mistakes. It's not focusing on the mistakes. It's not focusing on the hurt. It's not focusing on the suffering. It's not focusing on the pain. It's moving through it and correcting it and saying, this is what did that and that. Let's get rid of that. And that eliminates that. All from a place of not trying to change someone, but observing the growth. Observing spirit within spirit, the wheels turning within wheels, and everything working itself out no matter how it appears. No matter how bloody, no matter how gross, no matter how ugly, no matter how violent. Don't get attached to the appearance of the energy. Observe the energies working themselves out in front of you, just like a movie. But we get into the movie, I be cussing and yelling and screaming and crying and detach, observe. Okay, I'm going to do the next video now, and then that'll be it. Thank you, beloveds. Namaste. And I love us. I love us. I've loved us always, and I will always love us. I forgive, and I ask for forgiveness. And I free all that are bound, all that are corded. Be aware. Accept your freedom. Keep your freedom intact through unconditional self-love. It has been bought at great cost, great suffering, much bloodshed, many tears, through generations, 5 generations. Okay. Breaking up the energies. Okay. Thank you, beloveds.